Okay, gang, so as promised, this is what we have to learn how to do. We have to learn how to simplify something like this, because you will see this in calculus and you need to be able to manipulate this to simplify it. It may be part of a word problem that you're solving to get an answer. You may be working on something you're trying to graph. Whatever it is, you have to be able to do algebra at this level. Okay, so let's do it. The first thing I want you to notice about this problem is that it has two terms in the numerator. It has a front term and it has a back term. Okay? Just like we did before, I was doing two terms with you. These are just more complicated. Now, within each of these terms, I want you to see if you can put together any little bits. Because within the term, this is strictly multiplication. And multiplication is commutative, which means you can move it around, you can combine things. So this part, and this part, if you saw them together, okay, what I mean by see them together, right, multiplication is commutative. I could reorder that part of the problem. Is if you saw this together, you could simplify this, because this times this times this. Let's see what we're going to get here. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, and then you have 6 x's. Okay, so if you saw this little part together, you'd go, oh, that's negative 6x to the 6. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do here. You cannot distribute that into here because this has that negative 4 as an exponent. Now I want you to do the same thing over here. Is there anything that looks like, okay, not too much on this guy. What I am going to do is I'll just pull that to the front, okay? Now you remember the rules for how to do this? If not, let's go over them really quick. There are so many rules here happening at the same time. Do you know the difference between when you have two exponents versus when you have two variables? Right? This has one variable, two exponents. This is two variables, two exponents. What's the rule for this guy? Right? Hopefully you're saying multiply, which would be correct. What's the rule for this guy when they're sitting like neighbors? That would be adding, so it'd be like that. So just make sure you get your rules right. When they're next to each other, you add these. When it's one base and two exponents, you multiply. All right, so that means that this guy is x to the 10. All right, now this is the part where I want you to think about what we did previously in the previous video, where I was taking out a common factor. This is the part where I want you to think about it. What here would be a common factor? Okay, so let's look at it. 6 and 5 don't have anything in common. Some students will take out the negative, some students won't. I'm indifferent on that. Let's see. So I'll take out x to the 4th. I think I will take out the negative since they both have it. You don't have to. Okay, so I'm taking out x to the 4th because that's the lowest exponent. And for the binomial, what is the exponent we're going to take out? It's going to be x squared plus 1 to the, hopefully you're saying negative 4. So we got a 4 and a negative 4. I tend to put brackets here until I'm done at the end. That doesn't have to be you. It just helps me, it just looks very like different and distinct to me. All right, so here I go. Now I'm going to figure out what my leftover is. So I took out the negative. The 6 is still left over. I didn't pull that out. I started with 6 x's. I'm pulling out 4, so that's going to leave me with 2. I started with negative 4. I pulled out negative 4. Okay, so that guy's gone. Now I did pull out the negative, which makes this a positive. All right, so the 5 is stuck under. We pulled out 4 x's. Now this, remember, what you start with is the bank. This is the withdrawal. So you're starting with -3. You're taking away -4. So it's -3 plus 4 because it's a double negative, which makes a 1. Again, we don't typically write a 1. I'll just put that there so you can see it. Oh, and I multiplied that, and I don't know if I did explain that. Okay, good. So you see how my short-term memory. All right, now what you want to do is simplify what's in here. So let me just, to save a little bit of rewriting, let me write it above it for a moment, because you're going to have to distribute this 5 here. So when you distribute the 5 times this is 5x squared, and 5 times this is, 5 times 1 is 5. So this term and this term are similar, which means that you can combine these two. Okay, so that's going to give us 11x squared plus 5, right? We combined this plus this, like terms. All right, let's see what else we can do here. This guy is a negative. And remember, if it's a negative, that means reciprocate. So I can actually bring that downstairs to the denominator. So if it's a common factor that's negative, it can flip down to become a common denominator. I still have the, oh, okay, before I do that, then let's look over here. So the x's here are common, but they're on opposite sides, which means you can reduce them. You can reduce. So I can take 4 x's from the top and 4 x's from the bottom, because I'm reducing. Okay, so that's going to leave me with negative x6. Okay, let me just write that answer a little nicer. Again, you either have the negative in or pulled out. It's just up to you. Oh, I don't like the way I'm writing that. Hold on a second. Okay, that looks much nicer. Okay, so when the negative's way out front here, we know that it means it goes to both of them, right? If not, you could put the little parenthesis here, or you just have them both negative, right? You could just have them both negative if that's confusing anybody. Okay, gang, so that's the final answer. So just a quick review on this. Try to put the little parts together first, okay? Then you pull out the common factor. When you pull out the common factor, you want to simplify the leftovers. You also want to see if the common factor flips to the bottom, or if there's any reducing with the denominator, right? There could be steps there, and then that's it. You get to the finish line. Okay, I am going to do another one with another one of these with you, okay, in the next video. Look at you. Hope you like that. Bye-bye.